Good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hey, who is that? Oh, Wendy. Hey. All right. Let's rock and roll. Let's get started here. As you come on, please let me know. Identify yourself. I'm sure you've got notifications. So identify yourself so we can jump in here and get our discussion started for the evening. All right. I want to make sure you're getting our notices. So when I jump on, are you getting the notices? Wendy, are you getting it? Wendy, are you getting it? Yes. Okay, there you go. She said yes. Okay. Hey, Lynn from Houston. How are you? Kevin Johnson. It's a pleasure to have you with us, my man. Awesome. Lynn Stewart. Awesome. Fantastic. All right. Listen, let's do this. We're planning some big things. I just want to jump in and give you a few announcements as we get started, as we continue. Some of you may know that as a part of what we do, we also have a nonprofit called Men Touring Manhood. Hey, Kevin from Atlanta, what's up? Men Touring Manhood. And we earlier this year we were having lives, and we're going to start back our lives for Men Touring Manhood. If you want to know more, or if you want to join our nonprofit, go to the Marriage Ain't for Punks page, www.marriageaintforpunks, and scroll down, and it'll say join, and you can join Men Touring Manhood. Because we're having a gala this fall, and we're going to be having lives also from now, introducing, launching, doing some great things with our nonprofit, which is designed, by the way, to mentor men into manhood. Not just young men, but grown men. Because what we find is that sometimes just because you have the chronological age, it doesn't mean that you've been ushered into manhood. And that's nothing to be ashamed about. Actually, it's really important to know, because a lot of us, and I say us because I include me, we need a little help every now and then, okay? So that's Men Touring Manhood. I need you to know about it. I need you to join. On June 11th, you'll be getting some more info. If you do not, if you're not a part of us, please join. Be a part of us. You can find us, I think, in the app as well as on the website, okay? Tell your friends, let us know, and let's get started. Let's build this community. Now, if you're noticing that my eye is red, as you notice, it's not because I have been drinking or I'm tired or anything like that. There's a condition that I deal with, and we're getting through it. But it's called cluster headaches, and my eye goes red whenever that happens. So, no, Wendy did not beat me up or anything like that. I'm still good. Okay? All right. Let's rock and roll. If you did receive your, and yes, Kevin from Atlanta, put your name in the profile, or your picture rather, so we can see you. Thank you, Lynn. All right. Tonight's topic, hey Sunshine. Tonight's topic is he stays home, she goes to work. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to just give me your honest feedback. Give me your honest response. If you are dating or about to marry, I don't care if you're married or not, but if you or heard of someone and you heard that the man told you rather that he stays home, or he wants to stay home, or his plan is to stay home while the wife goes to work, what is your first thought? If you're single, you meet a man, well, you know what, I want to be a house husband while my wife works. Or if you're married, you hear about a married couple, he stays home while she goes to work. What is your first thought? Hey, Talamisha, what is your first thought? I need to know. And I'm going to linger until you give me some answers. Oh, come on now. Sunshine said he is not a real man. Be honest. Be honest. I love it. Because is there anybody else? Sunshine was honest and put it out there. Somebody else. What do you think? He wants to stay home while she works. What you got? Sunshine's the only one who's willing to be honest about it? Well, look, Sunshine, I thank you. All right. Talamisha said, I think it wasn't what I've traditionally heard, but knowing what I know now, I'd be okay with it. Okay, I hear you. Lynn says, I've seen it happen, and it was a decent fit. He was excellent with the kids, and she preferred to work. Now, I'm going to ask this question. Talamisha, how old are you? I bet you're under 40. Am I right? Okay, Lynn, I know you are. But I'm asking this reason for a reason. Because I sincerely believe, and let me just say this before I go on. If you're on and you're not commenting, please do so. Okay, Lynn's 40. Oh, you're 42? Wow, I should know that. I'm sorry. Okay, Talamisha's 44. Well, that's okay. With a 3-year-old. Okay, you guys are still, not millennials. You're still, Gen Zs? Gen Xers. Okay. So here's the thing. Whatever your first thought was, and I'm going to go back to Sunshine's thought, that's what we're going to talk about tonight. The numbers, first of all, don't lie. Okay, you guys are millennials, all right. Approximately 2.1, get this, to 2.2 million fathers in the United States. This is over 2 million fathers in the United States are stay-at-home dads. And that's about 7% of all the fathers in the country. All right? And they're staying at home with children under 18. Roughly about 1 in 5 stay-at-home parents. Are you with me? I know, it's crazy, isn't it? Who would have thought? And here's another statistic. That share has steadily grown 11% from just 11% in 1989 to where it is right now. So there's a real shift in economic roles, in workplace flexibility, in social norms, in caregiving. So we're finding a real shift. And if you add the dads who work part-time or work at night or provide for the majority of the daytime child care, that number jumps up to 7 million men who are primary, supposedly, I hate to use that term, but almost primary caregivers of the children. So we're not talking about a fringe occurrence here. We're talking about millions of American men, American families who've made a real decision. Now, what I want to talk about is what's at the bottom of this and some of the other implications, because the big question is, what does this actually mean? Because some of the first responses are, and I'm going to go back to you, Sunshine, that is not a real man. That's not a real man. And this is where it gets really complicated. Okay? This is where it gets really, really complicated. Ella says this. If the wife is making more money and it makes sense financially, I don't see a problem. That's very nice of you to say. However, is there something in our social structure where even if the wife is making more money, even if the wife is she's killing it. She's outpacing this man, tremendously. Even if that's the case, is it still acceptable? When he says, I don't have a problem making more money and putting in more as far as finances, but it's a turn off for a man to just say he wants to stay at home. People have to do what works best for their households. Okay, and I hear all the PC answers. All the PC answers. But do you respect a man who says he wants to stay home? Do you respect a man? I understand people got to do what works best for the household. I get it. But can a man have as much respect if he decides to stay home? 80% of stay-at-home mothers are at home specifically to take care of the household. I want you to get this now. 80% of the stay-at-home mothers are at home specifically to take care of the household. But only 23% of stay-at-home dads are choosing to be there for that reason. This is from Fortune magazine. 80% of the wives who stay at home says that we're taking care of the household. Only 23% of the dads say, no, I'm not staying here for that. Okay? Sunshine. Society doesn't accept a man being a caregiver at home. I have personally not met a man, says Ella. Oh, okay. Ella says, I do not see why not. If he's doing all the things I do at home, then it's fine by me. I have personally not met a man that wants to stay home, but circumstances cause that decision. And a lot of times that's what's happening. There are circumstances that are causing that decision. So the question sometimes isn't, is a man choosing this? Did life choose it for him? Okay, did life choose that for him? And more importantly, does the reason change on how we judge him? Okay? Talamisha said, yeah, and we're burnt out, so he can have it. Okay? Let me tell you something funny. I heard this a while back. Who was telling me this? I think Wendy. I think you were telling me. Somebody was saying it. Anyway, they were saying that, listen, so you telling me that you're going to fight to work outside the home as a woman when you got somebody who wants to pay the bills, take care of all the finances, take care of all that, and you want to fight to do that? You know? So a lot of women are like, in that whole reverse situation, they're wondering, you know, do I really want to do that? You know? What we found in society of late is that women are by far becoming more educated than men. Women are, especially black women, are definitely making more, are edging towards making more money than black men as a whole. So what we are finding is that moving forward into our future, there will probably be a trend where women will be making more money than men on the regular. On the regular, okay? I remember before I got married, I dated someone, and she was quite upset because I was not making enough money. Now, we were not living together. We were just dating. But she was making probably about over 3 times more than I was. Now, mind you, I had an incredible career. I was a dean at a very prestigious art school, making a really respectable salary by anyone's estimation. But she was just eclipsing me. And she could not handle it. I didn't have a problem with it. But she could not handle it. And I'm giving you that example because I want to know, is there a lot of situations where we'll say that that's a good idea? We'll say if it's good for the household. But can we really handle it? Because that's where society is taking us. Lynn says, it's more than just paying the bills, etc. Women nowadays do not want to ask permission for money to get their hair done. Look, my wife doesn't ask for permission to get her hair done. Okay? She says, I need to get my hair done. Okay? Now, I am the breadwinner. Okay? Now, a lot of times she's the bread cooker, right? She's the one who helps make things work, right? But as far as bringing in, and now we have a business where we both are working to bring in money, but because for the majority of our marriage, I've been the breadwinner, not one time has she ever come to me and felt like she had to ask permission to do anything. Wendy, you correct me if I'm wrong. I know you're on here. You said, it's good. But would he start complaining about the things stay-at-home moms complain about? Like his wife is not helping around the house and she's not stepping up when it comes to taking care of the kids, or she works too much. You know, and those are good points. Those are excellent points. Because I think that at the root of this, what we're talking about is not so much who stays home and who works. We're talking about gender roles and expectations. We're talking about gender roles and expectations. Okay? And I think that is the thing that we have to consider. These are her loss, right, Wendy? Excuse me. Look, I didn't I say we both win in bread now? But Lynn says, LOL, I use permission to be funny, but in most cases, women want to make their own money. Well, let's talk about that. Why? Why is it necessary? And I want y'all to hear me, because that's something that I'm going to talk about. Why is it necessary to make, I'm going to use this in quotes intentionally, your own money? In what scenarios do you feel like you need to make your own money? Now, I'm going to answer the question I just asked. The only time a person feels that they need to make their own money is if the money that's being made is not accessible to them, or they do not feel a total buy-in of the money that's coming into the house. Because whenever anyone says making my own money, that actually is antithetical to how marriage is supposed to function. Because there should not be no my own money and your own money. It's our own money. So no matter who's making most money, it's all our money. Oh, are you getting that? But we often have this attitude that I need to make my own, I need to do my own. And when did we get to that point? Because, and I get it, because way back in the day when the man was making the money and the woman was staying home, there may have been some knucklehead men out there who said, no, this is my money, and they were ruling it with an iron fist. I get it. That may have happened. But generally, for any man who loves his spouse and who's understanding of what role that he actually serves in the home as the house man, there should never be a case where it's my money and your money. All the money should be our money. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that? Okay? Because I think that this is where we get lost in this whole discussion, is when we start separating the mine and the yours. Okay? So for the men who are choosing to stay home, here's what the data says. That many stay-at-home dads say that their wives had more earning potential, often stemming from a difference in education, and many expressed dissatisfaction with their careers and said staying home provided a deeper sense of purpose than their jobs ever did. So what we're finding is that because women now are making more money, men are saying, look, I don't like my job anyway. So what the heck? But can that be done in every scenario? My answer is no. You have to walk a very fine line and a very sensitive line when you reverse the role and let the woman works and the man stays home. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. Or if the person making the money makes the other feel bad for spending, or if the person not making the money spends without regard. Let me tell you something. If you both are on the same page in regards to your budget, your future, and what you have planned going forward, if either of you, I don't care who's making most of the money, but if either of you are spending outside of what is planned, you ought to feel bad. Yeah, that's still not a mine and yours. We're going against the plan that we've designed. We're going against our plan. Okay? We're deviating from our goal. All right? And no one should ever, look, you should never make another person feel bad because you make money and they don't, or you're bringing home the bread, because what we're talking about here is value. And value in a home is more than who brings home the money. Okay? Because, now, let me back up a little bit. If she's out working and all he's doing is staying at home, playing Xbox or PS360 all day, that's a problem. That is a major issue. Or if he's out working and all she's doing is staying home all day watching hip-hop, Atlanta hip-hop, or what is it? You know what I'm saying, or Housewives, that's a problem. So when we talk about value has to do with what each person is bringing to the table. And when you define what that value is in your marriage, then that money issue will fade away. Okay, let's go on. Lynn, money should definitely be a topic of discussion and agreement between couples before marriage. Most marriages have the conversation afterwards. Absolutely right. And we discussed that when we were talking about prenuptial agreements a few weeks back. The fact that statistics says that when people have prenuptial agreements, they start on a more solid financial footing is because they have to talk about those finances. They have to discuss those things. Wendy says there are some spouses who don't even know how much the other makes. That is true also. It blows my mind. I have talked to couples in our coaching sessions, and they literally do not know what the other person makes. They literally do not. I talked to one woman once, and she barely knew what her husband did for a living. This is how far we've gotten when it comes to communicating about finances. Okay? Talamisha, talk that talk, Pastor. Value is more than money. Absolutely. And I can't stress that enough. That value in a relationship is about what I bring that's making our family better. I think sometimes we misunderstand the importance of bringing up children. And we look at children as sort of like, well, you take care of the kids. I make the money, but all you're doing is taking care of the kids. Do you know that if you do a great job raising these children, even though you both need to do it, but if the one who's the primary caregiver, you're at home all the time, and do you know that if you do a great job doing that, that is more valuable than any amount of money that anyone could make? Because you are raising people who are going to affect society, who are going to affect other people's lives. And if they're pouring positivity and goodness and success in the world, and you were a party in allowing that to happen, your value is inestimable. That's right. That's a $10 word, inestimable. All right? So get that. Now, the stigma of men staying home is real. Research examining news articles about stay-at-home dads over 30 years shows that while the stigma has declined over time, dads who voluntarily choose to stay home are still being ridiculed, excluded, and socially isolated. Now, as a man, I ain't gonna lie. When I hear that, I'm just gonna be straight with y'all. When I hear that a man said, "Man, yeah, I'm staying home, my wife works," antenna goes up. What you doing, dude? Well, are you serious? Now, if you're staying home and you are actually starting a business, working on something, or you are in fact raising the kids and doing something productive, okay, fine. You get no hate from me. But when I find out that you're home and you're simply, I hate to say it like this, sponging off your wife, that kind of rubs me the wrong way. Oh yeah, it might be a little misogynistic or whatever, or not misogynistic, whatever you call it. But yeah, that kind of rubs me the wrong way. Okay. The persistent stigma now explains why out-of-work dads increasingly describe themselves, and get this, out-of-work dads or dads who stay at home increasingly are describing themselves as retired rather than taking care of home and family because they're embarrassed. So a lot of men surveyed who stay at home say that they retired, not that they're staying at home or taking care of family or whatever, that I retired, okay? Because there's a negative stigma. Now there's something deeper here. When a man feels as though there's something wrong with staying at home raising kids, it's almost as though he's saying that a woman who stays at home raising kids, that there's less value in that. It's important for couples to understand the responsibilities of the different roles, Wendy says. So whether the husband or the wife stays at home because they both agree that's best for the family, they must embrace the roles fully. Absolutely. When I was on the show, Married at First Sight, one thing that I was always did with the couples was to talk about roles. And I talked to them about what their ideas were of marital roles and family roles. And one thing that I found was that our roles, what we expect in our marriages, is largely influenced by what we've seen growing up. So I talked to one gentleman, and this was outside the show. I talked to one gentleman who actually had never, actually was at a different at a conference, and he told me that he actually was having issues because he had never had a strong man in his house. So he had to he felt like he had to sort of give in to his wife's wishes all the time. And he had to sort of lean into her desires and what she wanted. And then he had 2 daughters. And so he felt like he was just inundated by the wishes of women. And And so he was just living a life doing what other people wanted him to. Because he grew up not seeing what a real man looks like in the home. So he didn't understand what his role was. And a woman cannot teach a man his role. And a man cannot teach a woman her role. Unfortunately, if you have not grown up with it, this is why we need support groups. This is why we need communities, because we must start to learn what good roles look like. And it may not be the traditional roles that we've always seen, where the husband goes out and he makes all the bread, the woman stays home, because I ain't gonna lie to you. Now, if a man is working and the woman staying home, very rarely does he walk in the door and she got the dinner laid out and all that, because she probably tired too. Kids, we had the opportunity of keeping our grandson over the weekend, and I'm gonna let you know, it's a lot of work. I forgot how tough it was to take care of an infant. It's a lot. So I can imagine doing that all day. I said the greatest thing about grandkids is that you can give them back. It's the truth. Okay? So here's the thing. Now here's a question. So I'm going to ask you again. Do women respect a man? Is it possible for a woman to respect a man who stays home? The answer is yes, it is. But if you choose to stay home, and if you both have chosen to stay home, you must make yourself valuable. As a man, if you're staying home and your wife is working, you must make yourself valuable. You must become a carpenter. You better fix everything around that house that's broken. Them kids better be in school. You better have them in karate, soccer, basketball. You better be that kind of husband if you're going to stay at home. Number one, it's going to boost your own self-esteem, because you're going to feel like you are valuable. Wife, same to you. If you're staying home, you better do something. You cannot just stay home and not tend. I don't care if you don't cook. You better Uber him. When he comes, you throw some flour on your face and have a DoorDash meal on the table. Make it look like you cooked. Something. But it's important for you to create value if you are the stay-at-home person. I'm joking, but I'm sure you get what I'm saying, okay? Okay. So, one thing, wife, okay, here it is. Wife, if we stayed home, relax, and enjoy a glass of wine. You know what? Yes. And I'm going to be honest with you. There's nothing wrong with staying home. If you have the luxury of staying at home, yes, enjoy a glass of wine. There's nothing wrong with that, because when I was working, going out to work, if I take lunch and enjoy lunch, sure, take time, enjoy it, go out to a cafe, yes, that's cool, but make sure that you do what's necessary to create value in your family. Okay, I say this to people who are on jobs, and because people often ask me for advice in that area, because I've had some years of experience in corporate, etc. And I will tell them, listen, when you go into any position, the first thing you need to do is make sure you make yourself valuable. Make sure you make yourself irreplaceable. And whatever that means, whatever you have to do, you find something